Hey, folks, welcome to One Nation Radio. We're going to start with talking about the unbelievable early death of Bray Wyatt at age of 36. Um, I don't know where to start with this, Rich. He had been off TV for a while. People had some concerns or speculations, more the better word, about whether or not it was, you know, Vince not liking what he was doing on air or whatever, and then he was gone, and then you later hear rumors about it was a health concern. So to hear this, that was maybe like 2 months ago, maybe around WrestleMania, actually, so more than 2 months ago, about him not being around, and for him to be gone now is just it's crazy to think of. This is a guy that's 36 years old, a guy that flat out was a star in the promotion, and regardless of whatever you thought of his work, like had a lot left, seemingly had a lot left in the tank, but that isn't the case now. But where are you on this? Because I just like heard about it, I just like, wow, I can't believe he's gone. It's crazy.
Absolute shock. And Sean Ross Sapp actually reported that it was a death due to a heart attack. And he had pre-existing issues that got aggravated by COVID. And him being 36 years old, all I thought about was my best friend James, honestly. And it was just like, just being grateful that you never got COVID or anything like that, and like anything happened with you. And it was like it hit just way too close. It's like people that are like of our time, and there are a lot of like fans I think that may have seen Bray Wyatt as like a kindred spirit of theirs or something like that. And it always like falls into the position of how do you like eulogize this guy whose work you didn't necessarily enjoy, or like
Mm.
how do you like separate like the sadness of like his loss, and like you know I'm not gonna run from it. Like we have like brutalized his wrestling career over the last decade on this show.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
absolutely.
and I
We've hated a lot of the stuff he's done.
and it wasn't, you know, well I want to share something I wrote up on Twitter a little while ago. I was just kind of parsing through my thoughts because it's like you never think of the someone's gonna die like that. And um I ended up saying this. I said there are a lot of people that found something in what Bray Wyatt did in his pro wrestling presentation. They may have found happiness. They might have found an avatar. Maybe they were inspired, or he was someone that they would ride with no matter how far or what direction the journey took them in. Make sure you send your good thoughts to folks who are trying to process this news. Send your thoughts out to his family and his children. I wasn't someone who enjoyed how he wanted to perform his vision of pro wrestling, and trust, it wasn't like I was ever light on him in my analysis, but I do feel for the people that were able to make that connection with him. And looking at someone who's in the same age range as them, maybe they found a kindred spirit. Personally, I'll always remember being in Full Sail University in 2014 when Wyatt just showed back up randomly as like a surprise person from the main roster, like after the end of the taping. And he shed the character a little bit in a promo, and like he gave us some of like himself, and it was like like that was like the most I was ever intrigued like by him. And I think he did have something, right? And he's definitely someone that I enjoyed covering on this show, whether he inspired the rants or comedy, or some of the times he did like strike on something. And I don't know. I guess I was looking for that small glimpse that I saw in 2014 to appear a lot more than it did. But at the end of the day, he's a Florida boy done well, and rest in peace. And it's like then that's the end of the tweets. But we're going on air like hours after this news broke, so it's hard to kind of organize everything. I think about him and everything like that, but he was definitely creative, to say the least. Like, what, how far that creativity went with you is, it's on you. But like, he was trying to bring something at least original, right? In wrestling form, because a lot of his stuff is kind of lifted from different aspects of pop culture and all that. But a lot of people do that. So um, it is very sad to think about, though, like with him, Brody, and like the whole Wyatt family and Shield stuff. I always remember, and I will always like kind of remember. I always remember Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt in the Hell in a Cell. Maybe not for the best reason, but I'll always remember it. And him being 36 years old, it's just a tragic loss, because I remember how people like were feeling when Bray Wyatt came back last year. I didn't get it. I didn't like connect with it in that way, but like those people were in it, touched, like feeling like it's like this. It's 8:24 right now. I had planned to mention kind of something small about Kobe Bryant today, because I found out they're putting his statue up to 8/24 next year. So you know, I know how I felt about, somebody that inspired me or connected with me, like, and it was just like devastating when he died. So I can imagine how those people, felt. And we have got on the people that, had the fiend avatars, and sometimes these people don't display some of the best judgment online, and when you're in conversation with these people. But I think it's important to remember at the end of the day that beyond like some of the things they may talk about, like they found something that landed with them. And in wrestling, it's like we kind of connect kind of with these people, even though we don't know them in most of these cases. And if you saw the Bray Wyatt character pop up in 2013, because I got a couple close friends that are really big Bray Wyatt fans. Like I know Gats is, my boy Montez is a big Bray Wyatt fan, and it was never, they would never come out here and try to tell you it was something about the wrestling. Like they wouldn't do that. But what they would always talk about is the aesthetic, the creativity, the presentation, like seeing almost what it could be. And it's unfortunate that, his career kind of wasn't in more capable hands, which may have, launched him, to even higher levels that they did. I mean, this guy, they let him wrestle all the biggest guys early on, so he was always kind of looked at favorably. Starting with Cena, Undertaker, and at WrestleManias. So, I don't know, man. It's just sad. Like, and there's just something. He's very kind of private. You never really heard a lot about Wyatt as far as like anything on a human level or whatever. But lots of stories are starting to come out between from his fellow wrestlers, and it is it the Miro video I saw. He's sitting in the car, just talking about how nice this guy was, and everybody saying how nice this guy was. And there are a lot of nice people in the world, but it's rare to run into them sometimes, because wrestling is a cutthroat business, and they say like wrestling welcomes all forms of people. But this guy always, even though he was like, I always looked at the Wyatt family, right, to where even though he was younger than those other guys, they looked up to him.
Hmm.
Um, what do you think about all this stuff, man?
Yeah. I'm not gonna front and pretend like I was ever some Bray Wyatt fan. As far as the majority of his work, I had a lot of groans and stuff on a lot of stuff he did. But that's not important right now. He's a major figure in pro wrestling in the last decade, and he's gone. And regardless of whatever I thought of him, I did think that like he was cut from different cloth or different breed, if you will, as far as creativity, and come from a different angle and try to make wrestling, something different or more variety, or bring more variety to the game. And that's appreciated. Did it land with me or did it miss with me more times than land? Yeah, but it is what it is. But for the misses, the thing about him is he kept always coming up with something new, and he kept getting people intrigued over and over and over again. And like, there are so many people that start doing something and they can't figure out the next thing, and it kind of just gets stuck as, the person they were, and that's who they are for forever in pro wrestling. And for him to be able to adjust the way he did, he like over and over and over find new things to keep people intrigued, to keep his fans interested in that way. It was impressive. I will never doubt that, and or not, or talk down on that. And at times when he was hot, even though we weren't really into it, I feel like, for I thought we were fair. I thought we were fair. Like, we didn't like it, but when he was hot, we were like, hey, got to go with him. When he got the Fiend thing off the ground and he squashed Finn Balor at SummerSlam 2000, was that 18 or 19?
I think it was 19.
19. We were like, hey, got to go with it. Crowd's going crazy. The new entrance music is awesome. Whatever. It worked. And then they did the goofy thing with Hell in a Cell, but like, they kept going with it, and they made him champion. And like, that was a second chance with it. And there was also the time when, like, before that happened, where like he had the babyface chance but he ended up getting injured, so we never really know like what it would have been if he had been just like the charismatic cult leader as a babyface, because it was basically like the night after WrestleMania that year, and then it was done because he got injured. So I mean, he had some ups and downs in his career, but like, I think he made the best of it. He definitely outkicked his coverage for what I traditionally think of, or technically think of, when it comes to all the boxes you can tick off to be somebody at the top of WWE. He's not. He doesn't have the look that Vince McMahon wants. He has the promo and the charisma to do the stuff that Vince likes with character work, but like, he's not exactly Vince's types of characters. And he still figured out a way to get his ass on TV and stay relevant and all that kind of stuff. As Vince, messes up all the toys, like he messed up every toy. And you messed up this one. All right, let's try another one. So I commend him for that.
This guy was a moneymaker.
Yeah,
For
them Fiend belts sold.
like,
They sold more than people would like to admit.
like, I can't explain it, but like, they they got a gold mine. Like, they're gonna be donating all the proceeds from his merch to his family. There's a lot of stuff with the family life and stuff like that, which I think somebody will better than me, somebody further along in their journey than I can probably try to sum up everything that was going on there.
That's for the biographers.
Yeah,
not for me.
Not for me. But I'll just say, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. And I will never forget Bray Wyatt. Like, as far as like, just like, he's just involved with so many things, touched so many careers, kind of.
Yep.
Being there while Daniel Bryan's like ascending, the Shield and the Wyatt family, as I mentioned, for a generation of fans like us, and maybe younger and a slight bit older, that shit was like one of the things that was like, this is our fucking Freebirds Von Erichs. Like, this is this is what we will identify with one day, where it's like, yo, do you remember the Shield versus the Wyatt family? And I haven't watched that match in years. And probably sometime this week, maybe before All In or something, I'm probably gonna throw it on just to kind of see all those guys in their youth almost, and imagine what could have been almost with all these guys. And
and it's crazy to say that, because like 5 of them ended up having really successful careers.
Yeah,
really successful.
And let's move on to